So, welcome back to another episode of Not So I Divide. Cody makes me sit in every single time and he gets me shit. So.
Yes. Starts us off properly.
Yeah, I know. So, like we were talking about, we always ask for feedback and we ask for comments and we ask for some chatter on Facebook, and we've got it. So, I want to thank everybody that has commented on Cody's posts because it's been fun and I like to read them, but unfortunately, I don't partake in the digital warfare. I'd rather have those conversations in person, but because I can't do the back and forth and
lib fishing, man.
Yeah, but I do like it, and I would like to have the conversation. So I want to be involved in it. So I wanted to tell Cody, like, I want to bring it back, and especially the people that have commented there. Some of our, they're definitely top fans. They comment and interact a lot, so I appreciate that. Please keep doing it. But for people that don't know, we have our Facebook page, and we also have a private group that we try to invite everybody who likes. If you like the Facebook page, we try to invite you to the private group. So if you want to have private conversations that's not just out in the ethos, then they're there in the private group. But Brendan, we back up on
let's see.
So in the private group, Cody reposted a post by somebody.
I think the first one I did was by Dave Ramsey, actually, I think.
What's it?
The 42 comment is Ryan Pierce. Go up?
Yeah, go up.
I think that video's up.
That's the second one. The first comment I was down. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Keep going down.
That was on August 25th.
Yeah, that was the first comment.
I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts. It was Dave Ramsey's post. And that was when it was first announced that it was going to happen. I'm not a fan of Dave. I'm sorry. Not that his
method is effective when it comes, like his debt stacking method. It's effective. He expects you to.
It's just unrealistic for most people.
Well, he doesn't. I think where I differ is I do think sometimes you got to spend money on the soul, and he does not. He's like, you don't take vacations, don't do nothing, just stack it and get out. So
when you die at 48 from some random shit, you've busted your ass your whole life for nothing.
Right. You don't look at it.
Just be miserable.
You don't look at it like that.
No, and that's what I'm saying. It's not realistic for most people because I don't.
No, but you can't argue with the fact that it's effective.
I am definitely not arguing the fact of financial responsibility and doing things realistically. But I don't think his teachings are realistic to the majority of people. But anyway. But he does have good points when it comes to policies and fiscal responsibility, and that's why I read a lot of things that he posts. But this one wasn't as entertaining as the other one because some of the things that.
I just didn't know if you wanted to.
We'll go over this one first.
And it was a shorter one. I didn't know which ones you wanted to get into.
That's both why. Of those. Okay. Because they complement each other.
Right.
It's two things that it's two valid points. Dave Ramsey's post that Cody posted was, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it was about the student loan forgiveness. Goes into the difference of the $10,000 versus the $20,000 forgiveness with a price tag of over $300 billion. He says it's a crisis, it's horrible. He's, of course, not a proponent of government spending. I don't think he's a proponent of government spending $300 billion on damn near anything that is not voted on.
Yeah, well, he's not. He's not a favor of spending anything on anybody, like government, personally.
He don't even go out to eat. Just eat a bologna sandwich, damn it.
And that's his thing until you're debt free.
We don't need an economy.
And once you're debt free, then go out and eat at a restaurant. That's his mantra, I guess.
So some of the comments. Again, it's hard to disagree with any of these, right? Stephen Morgan commented that, what happens to personal responsibility. Who can argue with that, right? There's nothing that's 100% what it is. I personally, I hate, and I know obviously Cody does too. I think it's stupid. I think it's a complete waste of money.
Right.
I compare it to saying everybody that's obese in this country, we're going to give you gastric bypass surgery,
right,
and then we're going to give you a gift card to McDonald's.
Well, it's. Come on, his mic. 1 second, guys. We good? Check.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
I hope that didn't come across on the
I don't
audio.
know.
I think that was mine. It was
You sitting on it? Pinched it?
the HDMI cord was pinching it. It's not coming apart.
And if y'all couldn't hear, we had a bad clicking in the ear. But yeah, I don't. Obviously, I'm not a proponent for it, and I know you compared it to you was gastric bypass. Is that what you were saying? It was kind of the thing was clicking.
Yeah. No, what I was saying is that the government said everybody that's obese, right? And we're going to give you gastric bypass surgery, and then we're going to give you a gift card to McDonald's.
Right.
That's what we just did.
Well, and I don't think it has anything to do with debt relief or anything like. I think it has to do with it's $10,000 vote.
Absolutely, no doubt.
I'm just trying to get
$2 trillion in student loan debt.
Yep.
And you gave away $300 billion, and you go, "Oh my God, that's a lot of money."
But you're not giving it to the students either.
It's less than 10%.
10,000 is going to the institutions and the loan holders. That's not going to
Correct. I mean, it's debt that they owe.
Right. Yeah, I get that.
It's money they're not paying monthly on the bill. That they weren't paying before anyway because it froze payments. Right. The main problem that I have, is it's definitely a vote. It's definitely a political ploy.
Yes.
There's nothing
Trying to buy votes.
because the dollar issue. If you're going to say we're going to give it to you, but we're only going to give it to you if you make less than $125,000 a year. So the people that argue that doctors are hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, they make over $125,000 a year, so they're out of this anyway, right? The thing that really kicked me in is when they double the student loan if you've had a Pell Grant. So that's that's like giving.
Explain the Pell Grants.
So a Pell, if you
For those who don't know what a Pell Grant is,
you can apply for federal Pell Grant. Like that's federal money that you pay nothing. It's a grant, right? So if you've gone to school and you qualified for a Pell Grant, and then once you've exceeded your Pell Grant and you've taken on student loan debt, right? So they've paid for your first 2 years free, and they said, well, you've used all the money federally that you qualify for because of your income and whatever. So now you go into student loans and you take out student loans. We're going to double what we're going to give you. But if you
so you just got 2 years of free college and 20.
It could have been 4 years of free college and then paid masters for student loans.
Right.
Or it could have been because Pell Grants specifically go for tuition and books. Student loan could be you can
use
pay
that
your
for
car payment, rent, whatever. So if I go to 4 years for free and I also took out $20,000 of student loan to pay my rent for 4 years, that's now free.
Right.
That's why, when I went to college, my parents, literally were dollars above me getting any kind of federal money, right? And I was always against student loan. College is not going to guarantee me anything.
That's why I didn't go to college.
So I couldn't do that. They said, well, you have to be financially independent for 12 months to where you can apply for a Pell Grant. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I did that. I worked 2 jobs because I lived on my own.
Yep.
2 jobs, paid for my rent, paid for my notes, paid for everything, paid for school. Second year comes around, apply for a Pell Grant again, so you make too much money.
Yep.
I was broke.
Oh, yeah.
I barely fed myself. I wasn't starving, But I was the Dave Ramsey model, right? I
Right.
paid the bills that I had. I did not eat out. I did not go on vacation. I didn't do nothing.
Right, but you weren't getting federal assistance already for food stamps.
But I
or
got
anything else.
zero federal help,
Right.
and then I made too much money. And I mean, I made less than $20,000 a year,
But that's what like the median
You know?
individual income is for.
and that's what frustrates me when I read like about the whole. Like that's just complete craziness, you know. Just like we talked about in all previous episodes, I think our education system is completely busted for, education, especially secondary education. Like I mean, I don't like the argument that you go to.
Save that one for the other posts.
Okay.
Because I think that
So I guess we'll
think I know
get
where
to the other
I think
posts.
I think I know where you're going on that
Yeah.
one.
But it's just ridiculous. So the Dave Ramsey thing, I think the biggest thing that people were talking about in that post was that I've worked hard. I've paid all my loans. I've paid my bills, but now you get yours forgiven. I don't like the argument. Like, I get it. Yeah, it sucks for you. But that happens in so many instances across so many things that the government does. Right? I mean, so it's like, is it fair? No, it's not fair.
No, but I think what those people are trying to say is I paid my loans back. Where's my 10K if that and now I'm probably paying more taxes. So that money that you're getting is now coming from me anyway. And I think that's where their heads at with that.
Again, but that's on so many levels. Like, great job, you were a good guy. You did what you said you were going to do.
Right.
Again, there's no. I understand the position, and I'm like, yes, you did. You paid your shit, but you could have also not taken out the student loans. You could have also, so you signed up and you did it. Unfortunately, on the back sheet, you didn't get it because you paid your shit off. Okay, and so I don't know. I just
That's not a reason to.
it's not a reason.
And I don't. For record, I don't agree with this student loan payment. I'm with Jared. I don't like the argument. That alone is not a reason to not, at least in Biden's opinion, better society.
Wait, say that again.
Like coming from Biden or the left's perspective, this is better for society, right? If your argument is you shouldn't do this because I had to do it different, it's not a solid argument for her.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
I got it.
Since what you're saying, I'm just trying to put like a different perspective on
How
it.
you feel about scroll down just a little bit, Brandon? So how do you feel about this one here that's at the top? What Steven said about
This one?
yeah, it gives a person, I guess, more skin in the game. Like having that debt and have that as a better motivator, I guess, to finish.
Finish what?
I guess school or pay. I don't know what is.
It's actually just the opposite. Right? So majority of these student loans that are being forgiven are people that did not finish. The people that finish pay their shit.
Right.
The people that don't is what's where this is coming from, right? So their economic position is it's going to free them up to do things, to move on, to get past the hurdle of life, right? Because again, majority of people that graduate either have gone through and make over the 125, or they've paid down enough. And look, if they haven't, then great. Like that's a free 10 grand. Like, but a vast majority. Look, $2 trillion of student loan debt.
Yeah, that's because colleges charge stupid amounts.
Okay, so that's my second argument. Why do they charge astronomical rates?
Because they're getting through these
Because when
student
it
loans.
becomes financed, it's easy to sell.
Right.
It's easy to go, okay. Again,
Right.
20 years ago, I don't know if this is exact right, but it's in the say in the 80s, so 40 years ago, you can go. LSU was about $3,500 a semester. It's over $25,000 a semester now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, has the education gotten better? Has the degrees changed?
Nope.
Has anything else gone up over 10,000%?
Nope.
Yeah, that's where the problem lies.
right?
Right.
So exactly. But it's the same thing with car financing,
But
house financing, anything that they start.
It's society putting arbitrary value on degrees. You know, too, like you go through high school. You know, you got to go to college if you want to be successful, and I think that's part of the issue too. Is there's a lot more demand to get into these colleges and these universities. So with the increase in demand, they can charge more money for it.
They've also lowered the kind of standards. You know, you got to think 40 years ago, they didn't have remedials. Right? Like remedial in college is a high school course.
Right.
So if you don't test and you go, well, you can still come. We're going to put you in remedials for a semester or two.
Mm-hmm.
And once you test out of that, then you'll test into the college course.
They had that. They had that.
Right?
When we went to college.
Correct. I'm talking about like when college was $3,500
Oh,
a
okay.
semester.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Right? It's a way for them to draw more crowd in, to draw more money in. You know, and look, I'm not against it. I'm not against remedials. I'm not against the you know, to have those courses to allow people that say, you know what, I did fuck up in high school and it wasn't something I paid attention to. So I do need, I'm serious about it now and I want to, yes, great.
Well, and it's not just that. It's people who later in life want. Like if I went to college right now,
You would not be remembering. the
right?
shit
I'm not
that-
gonna remember algebra,
Intro.
and I was good in math in high school,
Yeah.
but I haven't used it, and which goes to the freaking
The next argument of,
right.
What do
So
you-
do we want to go over anything else? And I don't know which, because I mean, of course, I was involved in the conversations when they were happening. You like that zinger right there? Go up.
that singer right there, it's got to be good. What's that?
We are a country based off equality of opportunity, not equality of outcome. That's deep right there, bro. That's cerebral.
But nobody's going to argue that.
Right.
Right?
How
Because
can you?
it's true. We are about opportunity, not outcome.
Right. Everybody's given the same slate when they go in, man.
I mean,
You're not guaranteed anything in this
Correct.
world. You're guaranteed you're gonna have the same opportunity that everybody else has.
I mean, the more money you have, the more opportunity you have. But that's another discussion.
Or the least money you have, the more opportunity you have. Right?
But you're the same
Because-
opportunity for education.
But see, that's
Now-
what my
now it
argument's
comes different.
fucking up in.
Sorry. Y'all get fidgety. I broke a freaking mic though. But
But again, that's where if you qualify for a Pell Grant, you go for free, and then you can
Right.
take out student loans so you can live for free. But if you don't qualify for a Pell Grant,
yeah, under this. But the way it is now, those people would
No, no,
still
no.
have to pay that $20,000 back.
yeah,
Right.
But still, it's on the opposite. If you are a middle income, then you're in $40,000 or $80,000 in debt for the same outcome.
Right.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Again, is it better or worse or no? I definitely believe that there's a cost with bettering yourself. You know, I said this when Biden said this in a campaign. We had a podcast about it. We talked about potential for student loan forgiveness, and I was like, "This is bullshit." You know, and I said, "Pay your money, whatever you pay in that year, it's tax deductible. If you pay $10,000 to a student loan, let that come off your adjusted gross income, and be a tax deduction. The institution still gets paid."
And
You still get a benefit from it, and the government is not outputting all this damn money.
And I would be more okay with that than with this crap.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
But nobody's talking about that as even an option. I have never heard one person
But that's
I never thought of that.
say anything about that.
But the problem is, and I've said this for a long time. You have people in charge of organizations and in charge of policies that have no idea what the F they're talking about, right? If you're going to make policy like this, you need to have people who are in the financial world making those policies. Like you know what I'm saying?
I get it, but there's no way you'll ever convince me that I'm the smartest motherfucker that ever thought about that.
No, I get that.
Right? Somebody has got to say, that's a pretty good idea. Right? The reason that I would think the opposition, because you're changing tax code. Tax code is already very deep and thick, and we just clam up more
I
tax
don't
code.
want to hear nothing about 87,000 new IRS agents. They can put in the work. They can adjust the tax.
they're gonna
code.
go to work. They're just gonna go to work on the wrong reasons.
The wrong stuff, right? It ain't gonna be fixing the freaking tax code. That's for damn sure.
I love the art. I'm not going there.
Another podcast.
Yeah, but if you make it tax deductible, regardless of your income, regardless of what you know, whatever you pay, you get the credit.
Like I said, I would be more in favor of that than I would be of just this
I don't know any
obvious attempt to buy votes.
Well, the thing is that we have eliminated X amount of dollars of student loan debt. But if you are a junior, sophomore, freshman, and you just got $10,000 student loan, all it does is allow you to go borrow more.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, what are we doing? You're not stopping the bleeding. You're not even slowing it down.
Right.
You just create another bill for our country to pay.
Yeah,
That has no other benefit to it. You know, look, if they came in and said 4-year college is free, period. If you got debt from whatever, it's your debt. But from this point going forward, here are the qualifications to get into a university. You can test in, you can have, other programs. I would still I'm not advocating for that. I would still be more okay with that than I am with this.
I'm not okay with using the term free. Ain't nothing in this world free. That would be a tax subsidized
There's
secondary
a lot of things
education.
in this world that are free.
That ain't free.
What?
It'd be free for you going to college, but somebody's got to pay the teachers. Somebody's got to pay the electric bill. Somebody's got to pay that's all paid with tax money.
Correct.
That's anything that the government provides.
But
That's school.
But
kindergarten to 12.
This is my problem with anything that's government controlled like that. I think the quality of service goes down. That's my problem with it. If
the government has run universities.
That's not what I'm. If college is completely free and there's no, because you're going to pay more at LSU than you're going to pay at Nichols, right? You're going to pay more at Harvard than you're going to pay at LSU. Like it's what I'm getting at is the quality of service. If college is free across the board and college is subsidized like that, there's no benefit for a college to have higher academic standards. There's no benefit for a college to hold their students to a higher accountability.
Which means you're going a little deeper.
The product on the back end.
On the surface, yes, right. But if you're making a 4-year tuition base free, still doesn't take away from the university advocating and advertising and marketing themselves for, because again, universities are all about prestige anyway, right? Like Harvard doesn't have more money in the bank than
yes they do.
But my point is that, but why teachers that teach at Harvard don't make a tremendous amount more money than teachers that work at USC or Stanford or
not
any other high-ranking. They don't. It's marginal.
Not salary-wise, but when they write their papers, when they give their talks, when they give because they're employed by Harvard.
But why? But why does that matter? Because of what has come from the output.
Right, but that's what I'm getting at. The output, the final product, and I hate to refer to a student as a product, but the final product coming out of a government-controlled university is not going to be the same standard because you don't have any financial incentives to make that product better if all of them are making the same and all of the colleges are the same. You don't. So there's no point in having a Harvard, right, or having a Yale, or having a. So
if you keep
or whatever LSU
Harvard,
medical school,
let's back up,
right? Like there's no.
Stop. Let me back up. Harvard was a horrible example because Harvard's a private university.
Well, right, but you're right. Yeah,
so let me back that up. Those will still be if you want to pay to go to Harvard.
Yeah,
you pay to go to Harvard.
You're absolutely right. I'm talking about. You're right. Let's talk about the free colleges. Okay. So, LSU Medical, for instance,
not medical. I'm talking. I said 4-year. If you want to go into be a doctor,
so you're not talking about graduate school. You're just talking about
If you want to go, like again, the I don't. It's not just Democrats, but this push is because it's going to make our society more education driven, more knowledge driven, more. Like,
so you're saying you still to get into graduate school, you still got to pay for that kind of stuff, and to get into specialization, I would be more in depth because then your standard's going to be trying to get in graduate school.
Absolutely.
So,
So you still have to test high. You still have to do this. All your standards do. 4-year degree. That's what a lot of Eastern European countries still do, right? 4-year degree, university.
But
to
me, all you're doing is just making high school longer at that point.
Not necessarily, because you don't have to go. You still have to qualify to get it. It's not everybody come on in.
But and of course it's going to be a deep dive.
It would be the same thing. It wouldn't be just universities. If you want to go to a 2-year trade school, or if you want to go to a 4-year university and get a degree,
who gets free? But how's the money divided? Is it student enrollment?
What do you mean?
Like, so LSU is a way bigger campus.
I think you'd have to start it off as just saying it would just be you get X amount of dollars. Like that would be the
Well, what if the money coming from the government was based on the outcome, based on the product?
Then you end up with high schools that we have now, where it's all test based. Like,
what do you mean?
And this is the problem. It's a double-edged sword because
then they rig the system to have higher.
But then, well, it's not just that. You have the same problem we have in high schools today, where the teachers are teaching you how to take a test versus teaching you how to learn and teaching knowledge and teaching you the way we were taught when we were coming up, right? And we actually started kind of seeing it in our age group. But teachers today are teaching these kids how to pass these standardized tests so that their teacher evaluations are better, so that their school gets that big old prestigious A or B on their report at the state level. So then the schools get more funding and the school boards get more funding.
Yeah.
That's part of
So what's stopping universities from doing that right now?
Because there's no standardized testing.
There's no standardized testing, right?
Right. Like you can get a bachelor's of science from the University of Phoenix. Right?
Okay, that's what you're
online
saying.
course,
Yeah.
and you get a
Okay.
bachelor's of science from Harvard.
Right. Still a Bachelor of Science.
But
Okay.
which one you actually think is going to have more, not just weight in the paper, but actually knowledge taught to that student?
Yeah, I mean, I never thought about it like this. I'm just
Right.
spitballing.
No, it's a good question. But a lot of people don't realize that that's part of the problem with our high schools and junior highs and even in our elementary schools. Not so much yet, but that's part of the problem that they have now with education is that standardized testing. Because teachers are literally just, and it's not their fault. It's not the teacher's fault, but they have to teach these kids how to pass these standardized tests. And that's what they're learning. They're not teaching them how to be critical thinkers, or not teaching them how to think versus what to think.
That's very believable.
But that's a big issue, and I am not a proponent for standard. And if you talk to any teacher that's been teaching for a while, they'll tell you the same thing. Like they have to teach you how to take this test. They can't teach you the proper, or I guess the better way of teaching. And it's because if they do it the way that they would like to do it and the way that they would like to educate, and you don't score high on these tests, it affects their teacher scores. It affects their employment, it affects their raises, it affects the school score. So now the principals are getting affected. So their money gets affected. The school board's money gets affected.
State money and
federal money. Like and it's all based on that standardized testing.
If a school scores like a D, then the state comes in. Like actual state school board comes in, has somebody at the school all the time. If that happens, I think it's 3 years in a row. They put the school up to being closed.
Yep, and that school becomes a choice school, where like as a parent you don't have to send that. When I first went to one of our local schools as the resource officer, it was a choice school, and like that school as a parent you don't have to send your kids there, and the parents would bus your kids to another school if you chose to send your kids away.
That's nuts.
Away from it. That's how low the.
And that happens, like, especially it's way in bigger cities.
Yes.
I know, like Houston I have some friends that live in Houston, and they have like, kid doesn't go to the school that they live in the neighborhood because it's a choice school that they can go. And it's not just Louisiana. There's a lot of, because standardized testing needs to be. And look, I am not against standardized testing.
No.
I'm against it in how they're using it
right.
now, because I do think that you have to be compared to your peers.
You have to have a measuring stick. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But to hold people to teach to that standard is a bit nuts, rather than teaching the comprehension and actually fundamentals. You know,
I think
Coach said,
I
we
think
don't
there's
teach
I think there's
kids-
too much weight
yeah,
that's put
sure.
on that standardized test, and it's too many arbitrary numbers. Like, I'm more interested because not all kids are college kids. You know, not all kids are gonna score high on this test. You know, some kids are more in depth to go to a university. You know, and that's fine. But some kids are not. They try to put these numbers on this and say these kids have to pay. It's a broken system. It's a broken system. It really, the whole thing needs to be overhauled. And again, I'm with Jared. I'm not against having some type of a college equivalency exam or something like that at the end or towards the end of your high school career, where if you're wanting to go to college, you take this college test to see if your knowledge level is high enough to get into that university. That should be where the weight of
Yes.
of
The standardized test goes.
right.
I also don't like that they're making kids in 8th grade now pick. Are you going to go to college or are you going to go to trade school?
Yes, yeah.
Fucking 13 or 14 years old.
Right.
And you're asking this kid to make a college decision right now? That's what they do. Like, that's nuts to me. That's nuts. But let's get back to this student loan thing. Because there's a couple, I don't know who the comment was, but I read it.
Which one are you
It
on?
was
Because y'all
made-
computers are not. Are you on the Dave Ramsey?
Dave
or the other
Ramsey or was it Pierce?
I don't know which one the comment was made on, but I want to talk because somebody related it to health insurance.
one? Oh, that was Brad. That was on the
The other one, Dave?
no, not the Dave one. The other one.
Yeah.
The Pierce, okay.
So we'll jump to that one because I think the other one that one's pretty cut. I mean, it's cut. This one's a little. It goes.
So before we get into it,
ahead.
let's talk about what the post was. It's right there. I don't know if you can see what Burns on.
So essentially
I'm
about
on the same thing, Brandon. So.
Okay.
With the Ryan Pierce post.
Yeah.
Call me crazy. I think it's decent to start changing all student loan nonsense with not making somebody take out $10,000 worth of basic, and it's in quotes, to get the degree that requires to get the same. So he's pretty much, and he goes on, pretty much saying that the requirements to get these degrees should not cost the amount of money based upon how they teach it. A whole bunch of years of nonsense just to get into specific things.
Right.
The main difference between why, because to become say an orthopedic surgeon, because brain surgery and heart surgery is a little different, but an orthopedic surgeon compared to like a diesel mechanic. You ever break down a transmission, break down a
Right,
diesel
right.
that there is 10 million parts and
Absolutely.
movements to do. I would compare it to replacing a knee.
Right.
It takes 2 years to become a diesel mechanic. Right?
Because you don't have to learn all that bull crap.
And it takes 12 years to become an orthopedic surgeon. And quite honestly, a great diesel mechanic will make close to what that orthopedic will make once they get, of course,
Right.
as they go on and they
Yeah,
get
you get different
practice and blah, blah, blah.
certifications.
But-
And right.
But I know diesel mechanics that are, I mean, good
Very
six
well off.
figures.
Yes.
You know, make over $150,000, $200,000 a year.
Without all the student loan debt that a doctor gets.
No student loan debt.
Right.
If they did, it was a 2-year,
Trade school.
$20,000,
Right.
basic shit that they went through. And in 2 years,
some of them
and coming
started
out
in
of
high
2
school.
years, yes. And then when I know a guy that went to an actual. It's in Wyoming. It's a legit, like
Yeah,
it's
my
a
cousin went to that one.
true trade school. Like it's a legit college trade school.
Bailey went to, I think it was that same school.
I don't remember
Was
the
it?
name of it.
I think she was in Wyoming. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure.
It's a big one. Like it's
To
a
be a mechanic. Yeah. Remember when she went
Yep.
to, yeah.
and come out and I mean starting salaries 80, 90,000
Yeah,
a year. Do it for 4 years, you're making 150.
Right.
Like
And in a field that's a lot higher demand than
absolutely.
than some of these
Like,
other
go,
colleges.
go anywheres,
Yeah.
anytime.
Right.
So, yes, I think that's the main thing. But they my main thing I'm trying to figure out where Brad kind of talked about I do think that a 2-year trade school, a 4-year bachelor's degree should I don't say it should be. I'd be okay with that being free. rather than consistently giving away absurd amount of money, because $300 billion of free tuition, right, comes a whole lot easier and affects a whole lot more people than just randomly, because you're not going to pay $10,000.
But see, I think that if you fix the problem with all these student loans and everything, then you don't even have to do it for free. It just needs to be affordable, and that's part of the problem.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
If it was more affordable, you wouldn't have to make it free. The student loan that a student took out wouldn't cost them $80,000 for a 4-year degree. You know, it would cost them $20,000. You know, whatever.
I can promise you, I would say it's probably 50-50. The amount of money that the student loan is taking is actually tuition. The other 50% is living expenses for a vast majority of people.
Oh, I have no doubt. But like to me, I don't know.
Like that's what's crazy.
Right?
And but and this is why I think the 4-year degree, if you're going to make it free, and if you
but those kids are still going to have to, as a doctor, live. They still going to have to take out a loan to be able to pay their rent if they don't want to go to work. Go to work. Well, get a job.
Live at mom's. Like, stay where you're at. Like, there's plenty of options.
Alternatives to having to take out a loan to live for you. You can work.
Well, when you're in medical school,
college.
You can't. I mean, you can't work. You physically can't. You're in school, and then you're doing some kind of residency. So there's no way that when you're in medical school that you're going to have a job.
I don't know enough about that to comment, because
you can't.
But I do know some of these people who are in medical school that also work because of the level where they're at medical care wise. They still work at these hospitals.
But they don't get paid. If they do get paid, it's minimal.
It's enough that they can.
It's not enough to survive.
I mean, they don't have to take $150,000 worth of loans out. I wouldn't think to live.
No. Again, that's why I say it's kind of 50-50.
Right.
Like half of it is for schooling and the other half is for living. Right? Because it is, do they need, I don't know the exact number, but I promise you, I agree. It's not, you're not taking $150,000 out to pay for medical school. Right? Unless you're going real deep into.
Now in y'all world where college is free, if somebody drops out, do they owe that money back to the government?
That's a different conversation, but yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be against it.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, like we'll you can have a 4 years, but like if you drop out, you owe us that money. Mm-hmm. Something along those lines. Back out of tax
returns or whatever.
Something, yeah.
I'm good with that.
That puts some skin in the game.
I personally think that student I
think it's motivation.
People, so the thing that most people, when it comes to the student loan things that they don't like. Student loan debt is the only thing you can't file bankruptcy on. Right? Like, you go out and you go to 10 years or 9 years of school and you get hurt and you I can't continue my profession, and now I'm hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debt, and I'm making $1,000 a month on Social Security because that's what I got qualified for. You're done. Like, they're going to take some of your Social Security money. Like, I know people that have their Social Security garnished to pay back student loans. Like, that's a bit nuts.
Check that.
And you can't file bankruptcy on it. So
But how long can you freeze your student debt for?
I mean, just until you graduate. Now with all these other little crazy programs, that's a whole, that's a whole different thing. Because now it's like you can do it for... It's to the end of the year, and then what's going to happen within. So, I don't know what the different programs are. But on the flip side of that, there are plenty of programs, especially for teachers, right? If you teach in a rural area, you teach in a low income area, there's programs that will forgive your student loans.
Oh yeah.
Same thing in tech world.
Yeah, they're absolutely.
There's companies that will pay, hey, you come on, you work with us, we'll pay so much money per year to your student loans, on top of your salary. So there's plenty of private programs that pay all these things. But I wanted to, the main one of y'all made a comment of the insurance, and you said it was about group insurance. I'm trying to find
second one, bro. I'm sorry, I had been looking at. Somebody sent me a text about
We got breaking news.
About some breaking news.
Where is that comment? You remember which one I'm talking about, Cody?
Yes, Brad made it. That's
But there's so many comments and sub comments and
yeah,
so I'm trying to.
I'm not gonna find it on the phone.
Here it is. So, Brad said, so if I take it, don't accept the insurance benefits from your employer, question mark, using your logic, why would some of your coworkers have to pay for your hospital bills if you get into an accident? This notion that taxation is theft, I gotta hit see more here, doesn't build strong communities. Think of taxes as an investment in your community.
I'm sorry, Brennan was looking at an article I had him look up. Apparently there's some planes circling Tupelo, Mississippi, threatening to crash to the Walmart and stuff. And
Mississippi's a shit show these days.
hey, bro, gotta have more plane control.
Oh, God.
And Cody put that this is not a good comparison. Work insurance is not the same. If you go to the hospital, he pays his deductibles. Your comparison, we get his hospital bill after his insurance, then everybody pays it. And I wanted to comment in there, but I didn't want to get crazy. So it actually is a fairly good comparison when you're talking about this, right? Because in your world, Cody, it's not a good comparison because of how your insurance works. You work for a large municipality, right? So being that you're in a large group, what you do doesn't necessarily affect everything else. But for 99% of small businesses, for 99% of people that work for small business that have small insurance groups, it does directly affect everybody else's premium. Every time you go to the doctor, all the claims that you make, you live an unhealthy life, affects my insurance premium every year when we go up for renewal. Right?
So do people with Big Macs all day long.
Correct. That's exactly right. So that's what I'm saying. So it kind of, the comparison of what he said, it was like, well, in essence it does. If you constantly go to the emergency room for stupid shit, right? Things that you can go to the doctor for, things that you can home remedy for, things that you can control yourself, affects us because that's claims that constantly go against everything, especially your emergency room visits. Because that's the insurance companies don't like emergency room visits because they're so expensive. Rather than that's why they push for urgent cares, right? So when we come back and it comes up for renewal, and you had all these claims that go against your, and they go, see, normally we're going to do a 2% increase, but this year we got to do a 13% increase.
Yeah, but I mean,
increases everybody's premium.
And that's a whole other bag of worms.
Yes, it is.
But if you got one employee bringing up everybody's insurance like that, I mean,
It happens.
At some point, that if I was a small business owner like that, me and an employee is gonna have a conversation about they're gonna have some higher premiums or something because I'm not covering them.
Because you don't have a choice. State of Louisiana says if I offer benefits, I have to pay for 50% of everybody's premiums.
I have to keep him hard.
Yes. Well, you're going to fire somebody for a medical reason?
I'll find something else to fire him.
Right? You just openly admitted to
little Johnny, you're
discrimination,
a minute late for work, bro.
You just better hope they don't find me.
That's what I'm saying.
I know y'all obviously can't fire somebody for that, but I'm just. Of course. But
that's the struggle, and that's the same thing. So, like, it gets frustrating, and that's why I don't comment on things like this, because I know it's not, like, general knowledge of how that works. That's how it works. And people go, well, no, it doesn't. It's like, that's exactly how it works.
But I don't think that's 99% of people.
99% of small businesses.
Small businesses.
So if you're a small business, right, because 99% of our economy is driven by small business.
Neither one of those guys work for a small business.
But that's
both of those guys and the argument and the knowledge that they have of it, it's the same kind of insurance that I have.
That's my point. I get that. But what I'm saying is that whether they knew it was right or not, the argument has weight, right? Because if you have under 500 employees, you're considered a small business. And the only reason the Terrebonne Sheriff's Office is not considered that is because it's a municipality.
Terrebonne Sheriff's Office is
right?
Sure, man.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Nope. I know who writes their damn insurance.
Listen to me. And I'm not going to get to a big old... But their insurance, the premiums and stuff that they have... I'll show you my damn...
I'm aware of what it is. It's called a participation to play.
Damn part of that. 'Cause it's said on one of them. It's a self, like their policy is written through
Self-funded.
It's a self.
I'm aware of what it is. I know completely what it is.
But what I'm the point that I'm making, it's like I don't like those kind of comparisons of telling somebody that because there's a difference there. It's not comparing apples. It's not comparing apples to apples. It's not.
Well, there's never you give no comparisons that it's exactly the same, right? What I'm saying is that the things that you do affects others, and you don't realize it affects others.
I get that, my point. And I get that argument, but everybody in that office pays for their insurance. Not everybody.
Everybody pays their taxes.
I understand that, and no, not everybody doesn't pay their taxes, but.
I agree with you 100%.
And the least amount of the people who's going to benefit the most out of all that is the people that pay the least amount of taxes. So
100%.
So that's not 100%. That's what I'm saying. That's not. I understand the argument. Don't get me wrong.
But the person that pays the highest premiums doesn't go to the doctor.
I get that too. And I'm not. Listen, I'm not.
That's apples and apples.
I'm not saying I don't understand the argument.
You just don't like it.
But it's not the same as somebody who's. If you want to make a better comparison. Then have a person who's not paying their insurance premiums, and then that makes everybody else's insurance go up.
That's Brad.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it would be the person in the office that's getting all the benefits of the insurance, but doesn't have to pay for their monthly insurance. It's completely free for them.
That's called Medicare.
And then everybody's happy. But that's then an in-office thing where everybody's paying for their own insurance. You want to talk about? You want to compare it to insurance? Compare that $300 billion turd that they just dropped, trying to drop on everybody to Medicare. And that's a lot
$1 trillion medical Medicare bill that
right. That's a lot better comparison than people's premiums in their work office. That's all I'm saying.
But not really. And this is why it's not, because if Brennan's on Medicare and Brennan goes to the doctor, it doesn't affect what you pay in Medicare. Your Medicare tax is still the same thing. You still pay the same. Your premium never changes.
I mean, that's a good point.
Right? But every time, if you're in a small healthcare group, and that's why I use that, every time, if you have somebody that has, it's hard to say this, but somebody that has cancer and going through cancer treatment, or somebody that is a diabetic and it has just ongoing, pumps and insulins, and like if you have somebody that is, they're fine. Like it's not like it's like cancer was a bad one, but if somebody has just ongoing health problems. I use diabetes because that's a very popular one.
Right. That
it's expensive. You get pumps, you get shots, you get insulin, you get all these things. And that drives up premium costs because it drives up costs. Or if you have, the one that I love, and I know I'm a past smoker, but I am a huge advocate. I try to get everybody that works with me, for me, that I'm around, like, quit smoking. Quit smoking, quit vaping. And I hate sounding like a hypocrite because I smoked for a long time.
No, I did too. I quit. But I don't care if people want to smoke.
I don't care if they smoke there, but when you work for me or you work in my circle, like you got to understand, like you have a ton of chronic issues coming up that are going to affect us.
Oh, look, right? I mean, look, and I don't want to get off on the whole smoking thing, but like, just as an example to that, I guess to further help your argument. I did when I smoked, I would catch bronchitis 2 or 3 times a year, and since I quit smoking and quit vaping, I'm not gonna wood, I haven't had it once.
Coincidence?
Yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence at all. I say it all the time. Like I 100%. Nobody will ever convince me otherwise that smoking's the reason why that I caught bronchitis 3 times. Because as soon as I stopped smoking, I never caught it again. And this was every year religiously, like clockwork. I'm going out at least 2, sometimes 3 or 4 times. Now I would work through that kind of stuff because that's just me. But I would have to go to the doctor and get medicine. Like 100%.
Antibiotics.
Yeah,
all the things.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
but yeah, if you catch a bronchitis and you're a smoker and can't figure out why, reach out to me. I use the vaping to get off. I'm not a vaping advocate either, but I use it to stop smoking. But and of course we went off on a tangent.
Always.
But no, look, like I said, I get the comparison. I just don't. Yeah, of course I don't agree with it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been voicing against it. I understand, and I understand the comparison. I understand where he's coming from. I just think it's different when everybody's paying into that pool, because you're also asking people who's never gone to college before, like myself, that now I'm having to pay for somebody who went to college, and like you said, the majority of those are the ones that didn't even finish it, and now I have to pay for theirs, and so it's not the same as insurance. That was my whole thing.
But I just gave you an exact scenario where it is.
But with insurance, I'm paying into that pool too.
Yes.
You know, so.
And again,
I could see both sides of it, bro.
Situations that when it comes to when it's all said and done, and you have a healthier, smarter, higher jobs, higher earners in society, that in the long term it does pay back to society. Because they pay higher taxes, they pay more money back to the system.
So.
I'm saying the argument. I'm not saying that.
This is one of the things that I mentioned when we were talking about it. And look, I can be completely wrong, but in my opinion, I think the reason why we pay, taking the whole people's personal choices being, what they are. I personally believe, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we pay so much in medical bills because of insurance, and I think we pay so much in insurance because of medical bills. I think it's that whole fat bastard cycle. But because doctors can charge what they charge, because if you can't cover it, that monthly insurance you pay can cover it. And the monthly insurance can charge so much because they say if you don't have it, you got to pay these outrageous prices at the doctor.
So I mean, insurance in general is the number one. It's that. It's the greatest benefit and it's the greatest burden. Right? Because when you need it, it helps.
Oh yeah.
Like if you're that person that just bought a house and you've paid $1,000 in insurance premium, and a hurricane comes through and you get $100,000 of damage.
Yeah.
But if you're my dad who's lived in this house for 55 years and it's paid $200,000 in insurance premiums, and they give you $35,000 when you $80,000 worth of damage,
right?
And you're the one bitching about it.
No, I get that.
So it's does it serve a purpose? Yes, and that's again the whole argument about universal health care. You're paying for it anyway, one way or another, right? I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm saying the argument.
Yeah, I think the system, and I don't know, I don't have a fix for it, and I hate bringing up problems that I don't have a suggestive fix for. But I wholeheartedly believe, like I said, that you have to have insurance because of the price that it costs for medicine, the price it costs for a doctor, the price it costs. But I think if you don't have insurance, doctors can't charge that much for that stuff. Now I know it's a trickle effect. I know
that's where someone like Byron Jasper comes into play.
And look, I love
right?
that whole.
That's his motto. Is that
right.
Hey, you know what? You pay me. I'm going to treat you, and I'm going to give you all of my discounts.
Right.
Right. And so that model is becoming more and more popular.
But I think if you had more of that, I think that you would see a decrease in insurance premiums. And I think
you would not see a decrease in insurance premiums because their risk is going to go up because they have less people paying into the pool.
I mean, maybe.
I know maybe about it. The more people that get in the pool, the lower the premiums get. That's why smaller groups are so much more than big groups.
Well, no, and I understand that. I understand that business model. What I'm saying is I think they would have to pivot on how they do things. Because I think that if doctors didn't charge so much, then you would have less of a need for insurance. I think that doctors charge what they charge because you have insurance. And like I said, because they charge that much, you have to have insurance to be able to cover the cost of the. Am I making sense?
No, I agree 100%.
Vicious circle.
Right. And I don't know the answer to it other than thinking outside the box. Like, and I keep pointing to this chair because it's the empty one. But
it's a simple answer, though. People have to start, like, you have to get out of the circle, right? Stop treating the symptom and cure the problem.
And I think that's where something.
We don't talk about nutrition. We don't talk about gut health. We don't talk about all the things. Now look, I'm fat. I'm out of shape. I get it. I am preaching to the choir. I am the choir. I'm the preacher. Like I get it. But when you go to the doctor, like I know when I start feeling bad, like I change my diet. I start eating healthy.
Yeah, and you start feeling better.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Look. Dude, I've gone to the doctor for things, and the doctor said, flush it out with water. Like, that's the advice I've got sometimes. And look, it's not wrong advice because I did their worst.
If you're not drinking a lot of water.
Right. You know, but that's a copay. Not to mention what the doctor's charging to the insurance company.
You gotta get money out of shit. You gotta get money out of politics. You gotta get money out of pharmaceuticals.
Good luck with that. But I agree with you. But yeah,
you're not. You know, but it has to, and that's what people think. Like, we always say it's got to do this, but then you're the first. And I'm not saying you.
But
the first to contribute to politics. They're the first to give $10. They're the first to do this, and it's like you can't bitch about taking money out of something and then contribute to the problem.
I think term limits would fix a lot of that.
Absolutely.
You know, I think term limits would play a huge part in getting rid of a lot of those lobbyists.
But I also think,
I know.
It's another double-edged sword.
But that whole dynamic is why I don't want to get into too much of this, because I have my own opinions about the insurance and the whole way that whole thing works. Like, I think if that was fixed, so that's like I said, I understand both sides of the point. I get it, and yes, they're comparable. I just didn't feel like it was a really close, strong thing, strictly because the comparison of you have one person that's paying into a system and utilizing it versus somebody that's not paying into a system and utilizing it, and that was my whole point.
But they don't see that. They don't want to acknowledge that a vast majority of these people that are getting these loans forgiven are not graduates,
right?
Are not contributing to society, are not doing everything that they're. This is going to promote smarter, better people.
No, it's not.
It's not. It promotes people that are self-deprecating and that don't continue. Don't follow through.
It's a participation trophy.
Yeah,
That's a $300 billion participation trophy.
And I'm gonna end on this because I know you're gonna agree. I guess agree with me. The thing that really, I didn't think this was gonna happen when he first announced. It's like, that's bullshit. It's got to be voted on. And when he took executive order and pushed it through anyway, after all the shit that they gave Trump about pushing through the wall.
Oh yeah.
And the wall was what, $5 billion?
Yeah.
This is $300 billion. And look, everybody, I am not a fan of Trump, so I'm not sitting here just saying, I know you are, but I'm saying I'm not for the wall. I think, but again, so I'm using this comparison.
Even now, when I am agree, I don't want to get into that, but
shit. Oh, come on.
No,
get a fucking job. Let's do it. I'm okay with having a border. I'm not going there, but anyway,
we don't have a country with that, man. Come on, man.
I'm not saying come over illegally.
Oh, we talked about streamlining. Yes. Yeah, I'm all for streamlining the process for the good.
Come the fuck over,
but not
right.
Not at the rate.
Montana's got 150,000 people, and they don't want no more. But fucking put them in Montana.
You wouldn't say that you live in Montana.
I agree. I don't just. They don't want you moving to Montana.
I wouldn't either if I was living my quaint little quiet life. I'm not. Hey,
Montana and Wyoming are like. I'm going on tangents again, but yeah, those amazing states, like amazing states, but they are amazing for a reason.
But if we pay,
do not advocate for people moving there.
If we paid that $5 billion, and now we wouldn't have the border crisis we have. Well, we might still. They probably unlock the gate and let them in. Freaking.
I don't know why I do this sometimes.
Freaking. Get started on the border, bro. That's so stupid.
God damn.
But yeah, you're right.
Of immigrants, my friend.
Yeah, legal ones.
I mean, but they had to get here first and then make the laws.
But I mean, we got laws now.
Just saying.
The first thing you do when you come in our country is break the first freaking law of it. Like, come on, man. Can't just let everybody in, man. Especially now with this double-sided crap.
I need to get some. I want to get some immigrants on the show. Talk to you. Like, just so you have. And maybe you have. I'm not saying I don't want to accuse you, but you hear people's stories and struggles of everything they've tried to do.
I can have empathy with people and feel for them, and again, I can say that I do think that there should be a streamlined process for families and those kind of people who are coming over here for the right reasons and want to contribute, and still say we need a secure border.
I don't disagree with
those things aren't mutually exclusive.
I agree with that 100%.
You know, so yeah. I mean, but I would venture to say that most people who went through the legal immigration process probably feel the same way that I do. They don't want everybody just coming on over. They probably feel the same way that people do about this freaking student loan stuff. Like I did it the right way. Why do you get to just walk over illegally and get all the same benefits that I
couldn't
get?
do it the legal way initially.
But you can't you can't compare that to what's going on at the border right
I'm
now.
not
That's
comparing
freaking
anything.
that is ridiculous.
I'm not comparing anything. I'm just simply, again, putting an argument of why sometimes you can't come over legally.
Then
until
you
you're
can't
here,
come.
You know, and then you go through the process of becoming a citizen.
Can't come legally, then you can't come. That's simple.
I understand your point.
Like, I mean,
White privilege.
ain't white privilege.
It's American privilege. You were born here.
100%
You didn't
American
have to come
privilege.
here. You didn't have the struggles of
100% American privilege. Hey, I'll tell you right now, like, by the grace of God, I'm an American. I'm not taking that away. I'm not arguing that. I'm very, very proud of my country.
I get it.
And you're right. I have certain inalienable rights because of where I was born, 100%. And if I was in one of these other countries, I'd be trying to come to America because it's the greatest country on the planet.
So why are you faulting people who are
I'm not faulting people. I'm faulting our government for making it so that they can just walk across illegally.
But there's
I
no
fault
way
our
for them to
government.
come. If their country won't even let them come, how do they come?
And sorry for them. I don't want to sound too heartless, but
That's fucking heartless as it gets.
sorry for them.
You're saying because of where you were born, you're fucked.
That's the way of the world sometimes.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's the way of humanity.
So-
That's the way of.
So
saying,
what's your answer? We go over there and take that country over and make it American?
No, not
Like,
at all. I'm saying if you have the means of getting here.
You didn't say that. You said their country won't let them come.
Correct. If
So
they-
like
if
China,
they
we just go
can't
to
go-
China and be like, hey, we got a bus.
You're not
Everybody,
hearing
come
it.
on.
You're not hearing it. What I'm saying is that if I go to my consulate, I go to my embassy and I say, I want to go to this. No, you're here. You're stuck here. You can't go nowhere. You
I'm not.
can't leave
I'm
this
talking
country.
about when you come, like, and we've talked about this. There needs to be something for people to get to our border for them to start that process, right? For them to be able to start that process and get on their path to citizenship.
Yeah.
I just don't think they should have the back door open and just let whoever wants to come in come in. That's
So you
that's
before
my
like
issue.
an adjustment per se?
100%. Yeah, 100.
Like you can come in here, quote, illegally, but there's a
That's my-
department or something you gotta go to make it legal.
And there is.
Yeah, like there's, but
But if you
that's not
get
going on
caught
right
at,
now.
no, it's not getting caught. It's not. It hasn't been done for a while. If you get caught coming over, it's a no questions game. If you haven't filed
I'm not
for
talking-
asylum,
look, I'm
you
not-
go back.
I'm not talking. No, the border agents are unlocking the gates and letting them in, man.
Again, I just said not right now.
Oh, okay,
I'm saying
okay. I
historically,
understand. Right.
our immigration system policy laws.
Oh, yeah, I'm not for that.
If you don't come over with papers in hand, already pre-approved,
yeah, you
you're
got to
getting
file
turned
for
away.
asylum. Yeah, and look, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not for that. Like I said, I think there needs to be some reform. What I'm getting at is, if you get caught jumping the fence, yeah, you got to go back on the other side. If you come to a portal
right.
of check-in and you're trying to do it the right way, I'm all for
Helping, yeah.
vetting, helping as much as we can help. And if those people are able to come in and contribute, they just, like I said, just a family trying to better themselves but living the American dream. That's the people I want. I want the people that appreciate our country, right? And in fact, if the people that are in our country that hate it, we can swap them. We'll have a sports draft. We'll swap. You hate our country? We're going to trade you to Mexico for the people that want to come over here and contribute. Right? I mean,
I can't even deal with you. Golly. Susie, you gotta go. Jose's coming in.
hey,
Swap them out.
Susie's over there. Dal, I hate America. And Jose's, we love America. All right, now we're going to do a swap.
I guarantee you, Mexico will stop immigration like that.
Oh, in a heartbeat.
No, you can't go because we don't want no more Karens. We
That's
got no
right.
Karens.
Yeah, y'all, Karen cannot come over here.
No, it's, and I guess we all are. I've taken a different approach. It's funny because we talk about immigration. My grandfather is an immigrant, right, from Ireland. Came over legally. Came to LSI. Like
Everybody
I'm not-
over here that's not an indigenous American
is an immigrant.
Is an immigrant
That's
at some
my
point.
We are a country of immigrants.
And I love that about our country. But what I'm just doing legally.
You just don't want open borders.
Right. That's exactly it. I don't want an open. I want a secure border and a better process to citizenship. And I don't think.
I don't think anybody disagrees with that.
And I don't think those things have to be.
Well,
I think a lot of people disagree with that.
I don't think a lot of people do.
I do.
I don't. I think if you can say, hey, look, we have a secured border
Right.
that you come across, you come through our checkpoints, we validate you, we medically, physically, mentally,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, that might be a
you,
compromise everybody can agree with.
and you come in and you get citizenship, you come get a job, or you got a 90-day visa, right? You get a job, you get this and you get that, 90 days, and you
I mean, like I said, there's got to be a vetting process because not everybody's able to come over. Some people are going to get turned away, but I think there's some. I don't even want to use the word compromises because there's some areas there that need to just be completely overhauled. Like even the people who went through the process that are here legally that have their citizenship. There's because it's government run. I can only imagine the amount of bullcrap red tape that those people have to jump through.
Dude,
right, and that's I'm not a red tape fan.
When you even go through like a work visa, even
not
the
just
legal,
for the purpose of having red tape.
the legal process, right, of coming in, going,
Right.
getting everything legal. There's no follow up. You know how many people are here on expired visas?
Oh yeah, but that's a problem too. Yeah. Instead of hiring 87,000 IRS agents, why don't we go hire some visa tracker downers?
I like that name.
Right? Oh, on the shirt too, Visa Tracker Downer, Visa Tracker Downer Squad.
Rolls right off the tongue.
Right off the tongue. That's easy for us to say.
The VTDS.
That's right. The Visa Tracker Downer
You can't start
Squad.
anything with VD automatically is not
VTDS, I like it.
I mean, Jesus. But yeah, so
VT.
ET?
No, VT. He said, not D.
Oh, they said VD.
No,
The
VT.
VTD.
Backer, Visa
Downer.
Tracker Downer
guess.
Squad.
Would track it down to be one word?
I mean, the VTS.
It's like
I mean, we're making words up, so I guess
Sure, why
we'll
not?
just make it one word. Tracker Downer is now one word.
Tracker Downer.
He who does the tracking.
the VTS.
The VTS, bro.
That rolls off the tongue better.
That does roll off the tongue. See that? That's how easy.
We just
when you don't have
hyphen. The
red
hyphen
tape.
tracker downer.
Jesus.
And we only need 87,000 of them.
I want to correct my earlier statement. I said there was $2 trillion of student loan debt. It's actually 1.5 trillion.
Oh.
1.47.
Is that before or after the $300 billion
This is
turd?
previously. This is before. So
So we're right. So we're going to be down lower now.
yeah, by $300 billion.
Yeah, that ain't so bad.
And then,
It'll be right back up there next year.
but that's just like taking money from this hand and put to that hand. Really?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even talk about this, and I guess we'll end with this because we're kind of beating this dead horse. But not only is this a bad idea to do this in general, it's at the worst fucking possible time.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's
You can't put $300 billion into the system in a time of that, that we're about to go into a fucking recession.
right.
Like, number one, like, come out with this shit. Do it right before fucking election season. Like to do this now when we're
It's to buy votes, man. You're trying to rationalize an irrational decision.
Well, do it to buy votes closer to the fucking election. Like people forget about it by then.
They're worried about midterms right
America-
now. It's not presidential.
True.
It's midterms. That's what it is.
But still, like, golly, like, do you realize you just put $300 trillion back into the system, like physically, and then you stopped payments on these through December anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So even if people like.
Yeah.
People are just going to go back out and spend that money again, and it's like
So-
you don't want people spending money right now.
So while we're still on the college thing, and I know we're kind of winding down. I wanted to ask you, so I'm glad we brought it up. I did a little bit looking into it, but you're our financial guy,
Oh, jeez.
right?
I apologize in advance.
So a lot of these Ivy League schools that I've seen have very, very large endowment funds. Now, correct me if I'm going to tell you what my understanding of it is, and I'm sure I'm probably off. It's just like I said, maybe a few hours on the internet just trying to kind of look it up. That's people like in their will, right, that have left money towards the universities. Is that what an endowment is, or
It could come from people that
or
are
just
still
donate?
alive
It's just donated money.
annual. Yes.
Annual donations to the university. That's But these universities have tax exempt status. That I'm not all right with that.
I'm not all right with any tax exempt status. So,
Like, especially especially because these are the private universities. You have a private university. I don't think you should have that tax exempt status like that.
so not all colleges and universities have a tax exempt status.
So how does one? Yeah, and that's kind of where my
Yeah.
confusion's at. So how does
I don't
one-
know. I don't know which ones are and which ones aren't. But some colleges, private colleges, are for profit. They're not considered nonprofits. They don't have tax exempt statuses. They are for profit.
But most.
But
This is my problem. So
endowment money is not taxable.
I mean, I get that, but the college and the university itself should be. And
I guess
you're saying that they're not for profit, but go look at the amount of money that these deans and these professors and all these people make at those universities, at those large, going on almost $1 trillion freaking endowment. Those deans and professors and
It's for profit.
philosophical, that's 100% for profit.
Okay, but you gotta-
But it's for the profit of the people who are running the university.
Not necessarily. So
Oh no, it
again,
is.
by
Go look at it.
definition, I don't disagree with you. By definition, it's the same thing when you look at the Red Cross, when you look at Goodwill.
Yeah,
when you
but
look at-
I'm 100% with you on that. Like, yes.
So for profit, it just means that the dividends aren't paid out, right? When you are for profit, nonprofit, the dividends, the money collected minus expenses, aren't paid out to shareholders.
But
To
when those expenses get to a point of
there's no more profitable place in the fucking church.
and look, don't even get me started, bro.
I mean, honestly, everybody's like, oh, fucking, because that's, I don't know if y'all, I know y'all maybe not in the big financial world, but like, so the Saudi Arabia company, I use company air quotes, Aramco, you heard about them?
No.
So Aramco just came public a few years ago. Aramco is actually the Saudi Arabia government.
But China does the same thing with a lot of their things.
They're publicly traded in this country.
That's ridiculous.
Publicly traded. You can buy stock in Saudi Arabia's company, private company, Aramco. They have their oil rights, right?
Yeah.
And they make them. It's been a company. Aramco's been around forever.
China does the same to their electric companies and
Right.
stuff. Like it's all.
But it's
Chinese.
publicly traded.
I don't know if China
Right?
is.
It's
either,
not. It's hard to get a publicly traded company outside of China, right? So I don't know what China's.
but it might be traded in their own country.
I'm sure it
what I'm
is,
getting
which
at.
is
Like,
fine,
It's probably
because-
on their own stock market.
Correct, which is fine. Like, if you want to do, it's fine. But Aramco is the crazy thing is that now you're a public company. All of your financials are public records. Anybody can go look. Dude, they did like $380 billion of net profit in the first quarter.
Jesus Christ.
It was like, huh? Like Apple, Amazon, and Facebook all went, damn! It's like, what the? It's
the government.
insane. They don't have any expenses.
Right, it's the government.
They're not paying land leases. They're
No,
not paying
no.
shit. Like, they.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's the scary part is that this makes investors. I know I'm going on a fucking tangent again. This makes investors that's extremely attractive.
Oh yeah.
So let's invest money into it. You're investing money into a foreign fucking country's government.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, as a private individual. So what happens when they go, nah, we're not going public no more?
Right.
You're going to fight the government? You're going to fight Saudi Arabia's government?
Good luck.
No.
Right. Good luck.
So that's, I don't know. And look, I'm not a, financial guru either. I don't know how but that scares the shit out of me.
Right.
Number one, that they're that profitable. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
Like, people look over here and they look at Amazon and Facebook for doing tens of billions of dollars of profit in a quarter, and they're going, that's absurd. They're doing that in not even in a year. They did that in a fucking first quarter, which is the worst quarter of the year.
But when like you said, when you don't have any overhead,
Labor's cheap as shit.
right.
They're not paying taxes.
They ain't paying insurance, none of that. It's a government in a socialist government at that. It's not.
It's not even so. I mean, it's like a family business. It's not even a socialist government.
But it's like China. It's a communist type.
Yeah. Oh man, I was just like I get floored by that when I look at stuff like that. Just really going, what? Nuts.
Yeah, it just blew my mind that a lot of these private colleges were tax exempt.
I think they should, personally, you should do it with all tax exemptions when it comes to being, like, exempt from paying any taxes.
To me,
I don't think
unless it's like you said, a 4-year government run, I don't say government run, but government funded, like free college. Like if LSU was free for...
I still don't. So look,
if the college is paid for with our tax money, you get what I'm saying? Like...
Yeah, but I mean, you know, that's... if the first thing we change right now in our tax code, right, it would be like, look, make this very simple. Like, I get that you have tax deductions, right? And that's what a nonprofit is. A nonprofit is based off of, if you're a true nonprofit, a registered nonprofit, and you go out and you do business, right? And you make all this money. I'm part of a few nonprofits. I'm on the board of a few nonprofits. At the end of the year, when we look at all the things that we did, fundraising, charity events, whatever we've done, and we go, okay, we have $50,000 in the bank, right? I look at it on a business aspect and say, okay, look, what would I do? Because we either pay taxes on that $50,000 or we spend it, right? So as a nonprofit, you have to show where you put that money back into the community to still be considered as a nonprofit.
But how does that work with... Because does that count with investments? Because that's how these colleges are making it with their endowments. Is that money's invested, and it's smart on their part.
Well, they put it in bonds mostly. Yes.
So that's how they're able to. Because they have billions, and these endowments are hundreds of billions of dollars. You know.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at is how do they maintain a tax free?
Because number one, so endowments go two ways to my knowledge. One is actual cash balances, right, of what they have, and they also leverage the endowment. That if, you know, Susie Rockefeller puts in her will that when she dies, that $100 billion goes to this university,
right,
that is played into their endowment as future assets, right? It's an endowment fund so they leverage what they have, what they're going to have, and they kind of budget things off of that. And, you know, so it's not just cash value all the time, right? Because then they'll take certain money. So like Warren Buffett does this historically. He will take the actual stock and transfer that into the endowment fund, right? So he's saying like Berkshire Hathaway stock, so he's going to give 100 shares of Berkshire Hathaway stock to whatever university or whatever private organization. And that stock's worth $300,000 a share when he gives it to them. If they don't sell it, they just keep it in the fund. As that gains value,
so does
the endowment fund.
Gotcha.
Right? And then what they do is they borrow money off of that endowment fund to keep it as a cash value. They leverage it. Right? So they go and get a bond on the university. Same thing school board does with all the properties and shit they have. Right? They'll go out and say, okay, look, we're going to do this X amount of dollars. We'll pay you 2%. You know, on a bond, or they'll go to the state and they leverage the endowment fund.
So it looks like they're non-profitable. When an actual is that what I guess the whole
it's
game
more
is?
Tax benefits. It's strictly tax because again, they're not paying taxes on it regardless. Even if they are taxable, an endowment is not taxed.
Because I know I want to say, and again, I'm not as up to date on it, but I want to say Trump tried doing something with that and started affecting the that tax status that a lot of these universities have, and it started like it was taking a lot of their money back. I don't remember the percentages, but I read somewhere that he had some kind of a tax code he had pushed through that had started to chip away at some of that tax-free exemption status, but it got reversed as soon as he was out of office. But I'm like 50-60% sure. I know I read it. I didn't fact check it. So.
I mean, it is something that I'd like to know about because Trump is definitely one to avoid taxes in general. We know that. I don't blame him. I mean, he's a fucking businessman. His job is to.
But I mean, but all his tax stuff, just like these universities, it's all above water and legal. That's the
Yeah, I don't think he's ever.
No, I don't know. We would know. Trust me. With the amount of.
I mean, he still never released his tax documents. Only president in history not to do that.
Yeah, well. They also said he was including with Russia and spent billions of dollars fighting. We could have built a wall with the amount of money they wasted on that sham.
I don't disagree with you. It's all a witch hunt.
That's gonna be my new thing. I'm gonna get a shirt made that said we could have built a wall.
Fuck. 300 billion? We could have bit that bitch from coast to coast.
Right. We could have completely encircled our
300
Canada too.
right. We could have a northern and southern border.
Could have made the fucking Rocky Mountains run across our
Right.
border.
We could have taken that and built a wall along the Gulf Coast and stopped all the erosion.
Imagine $300 billion. Well, it just been Louisiana. Yeah. I mean,
Right? I mean, there's a whole lot of better things we could have done with $300
Oh,
billion.
jeez.
Yeah. Put on the list too. I guess for future things to talk about, but like, and I may just put it in here, but the Inflation Reduction Act,
for Biden's
yeah.
book,
Yeah.
like you call it that, but
it does the exact opposite.
but they're not now. They're not even saying it's inflation reduction. They're calling it the best.
Did you see?
The best green deal that they've ever passed in United States history. Like it's and that's what their point.
We gonna end on this because I gotta wrap this up. Go to Google, go to inflation, and go to Wikipedia. These motherfuckers changed the definition of inflation on Wikipedia.
Like just Google inflation.
That's not surprising.
Now anybody can petition to change the definition.
Yeah, but like you can petition it. But there's only like I think 5 people that can change certain things on Wikipedia. Louder were crowded at a whole segment at one point on Wikipedia and fact checking it and that kind of. It was a very interesting episode to watch because they did like a 6-month or a year investigation thing just into Wikipedia where they were doing different things to be able to contribute to Wikipedia. So what is he looking at? It's up here on the screen.
I don't know what he's looking at.
That's on Wikipedia.
I just
He went to Wikipedia.
Wikipedia
typed in
inflation.
And what does it say?
In economics, inflation is a general increase in the prices of goods and services in an economy. When the general price level rises, each unit of currency buys fewer goods and services. Consequently, inflation corresponds to a reduction in the purchasing power of money. And then it kind of goes on from there. The opposite of inflation is deflation, a sustained decrease in the general price level of goods and services. The common measure of inflation is the inflation rate. The annualized percentage.
That's what they changed, right? So what you just said, I was trying to catch up what you said there. So historically, inflation has one main characteristic, not an inflation rate. 2 quarters of negative growth.
Right, yeah.
Period.
Right.
Because the inflation rate changes by what you're fucking rating.
That's true.
It doesn't matter what the inflation rate is because what defines inflation rate changes by what people are buying.
Right.
Right? If we stop buying
And you're
houses,
right. You're right. Historically, it's been 2.
it's 2 negative quarters.
Right.
Period.
Right.
That's the only thing you can, because whatever people are buying, there should change. If you
Right.
look at inflation in 1914 or 1814 compared to inflation today, back then we were buying fucking 10,000 horses a month.
Right.
Not fucking buying horses anymore. That's not part of the inflation rate.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, it was 2 negative quarters. You're right. It's
Period.
100%. Yeah.
And now it's the inflation rate.
That's ridiculous.
Like,
Which is the annualized percentage.
this is one thing that I've come up on about society these days is that the only thing we're great at is redefining words.
We're phenomenal at redefining words. I mean, I just made one up earlier.
No.
Burn it on the
So
spot.
you made up a new one. I mean, redefining words that have been here since
Right.
Specific words.
Yeah, like
Don't.
what? I can say vaccination now.
Oh, I thought you were.
Can I make a Wikipedia page on Tracker Downer?
So I say what?
Are you gonna say woman?
Oh, well. No, I don't want to get a strike. But no, like YouTube's changed their guidelines on what you can say about the COVID and everything else. Now you can say that masks don't work and you ain't got to worry about getting.
Yep. And you can also see
Strike,
that
yeah.
it started in probably started in a Chinese lab, and you don't get no strikes.
You can
say everything that they struck. Oh, even us, our little fucking 9 viewer segment.
Right.
Yeah, and they didn't take our strike away, by the way.
You can say that the vaccine was not effective because the CDC has came out and said that the vaccine is not effective. Which, I mean, we all knew when you had to get 47,000 booster shots to keep it up. But you're right. All those people who got strikes and got everything else and got censored and kicked off of platforms.
He was on Rogan a couple weeks ago. Sued Twitter for it, and they have he's the only person to be replatformed. I can't think of his name. You have to go back and look at him. Like it was a big deal.
They should go back and replatform all the people they kicked off for that and give them their strikes back.
Well, the thing was is that they yes, but some people they've deplatformed for other reasons, not being not about misinformation, but about hate speech and you know what I'm saying, like things that not hate speech. I know they have,
but dudes we'll visit all that stuff because that's a whole another Zuckerberg on Rogan. What he admitted to was ridiculous, man.
I listened to that one.
That with the FBI and stuff. Yeah, we need to.
That was. I mean, I'm glad he did. I'm glad he was just open.
100%.
He didn't have to. I mean,
I don't know if he even realized what he said. But
he definitely did. Zuckerberg's not saying something. He don't know what he's saying. Especially in his frame and what he's.
True.
This dude has been testifying in front of Congress on.
I get. Yeah, you're right.
He is. I don't know if Joe would. I don't think Joe would have done it if it was scripted. I give Joe enough.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody's controlling what comes out of Joe's mouth. But Joe.
Or the questions he asks. Because that's something else that I know.
No, I don't think
that
I don't think anybody's controlling that but Joe himself.
Yeah. I don't think he knew. I think he's going to go in this and we're going to have a conversation, and either you're about it or you're not.
Oh yeah.
Wherever it goes.
Now, I wish they held his feet to the fire a little bit more, but I mean,
sure. He's done that a couple times though, but I don't blame him because he's not I know he's a journalist these days, but he's not a journalist in the fact that he's writing bullet points.
Right. No. Yeah.
He's taking the conversation.
That's why his platform's as big as it is because people go on there and they just talk.
Right. We definitely need to end on this.
Yeah.
So he's got that $200 million Spotify deal.
Yeah.
Do you know he still gets paid per episode?
That's awesome. Good for him, man. Yeah.
It's just he
knows his worth,
10-year contract with Spotify, exclusive Spotify for $200 million.
And all the advertising money he's making, and
still is.
Yeah.
He still makes over $1 million per episode.
I can believe it. Yeah. I mean, he's not quite to our level yet, but I mean, I'm proud of him, man. He's getting there.
Dude, that's insane.
That's
insane.
He'll reach our status eventually if he keeps trucking and keeps working hard and putting forth the effort with a little bit of luck and some determination.
That's what he lacks. He lacks commitment and determination.
Well, that Elon Musk doesn't back.
Well, it does help that we have Elon as a sponsor.
Yeah, especially now that he dropped his $44 billion Twitter buy.
Right.
Yeah, he's got a little bit more money to advertise with us.
Yeah. Jesus.
Would you keep the Tesla if he gave it to you?
Probably. Especially this one they got ludicrous speed mode. Probably.
That's insane.
You can't really. I mean, it'd be a toy because you can't drive them that long.
300 miles.
I don't know if they do quite 300 miles.
My cousin's got one.
But the charge time on it's 4 hours after that. It's
you can park at your house, charge it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't go on a road trip with it.
300 miles.
But I gotta be
150 miles.
Right.
Back.
Right. Yeah. Which I mean, so you can go on a little day trip, or whatever, or you can go if you sleep with
my cousin drove hers from Boston to here.
Yeah, but you gotta put a lot of stops in that because you gotta wait for 4 hours.
So you have to find super stations, and super stations will charge relatively quick.
The problem with those fast, they're expensive, and it damages the batteries. From what I was told, it takes the life of the batteries out. Whenever you do those turbo chargers, the battery costs more than a freaking car. Yeah, I would at least have a little fun in it.
I want to drive it too bad. I didn't get to drive it.
I'd drive that.
Oh, I would love to drive one.
Yeah. Yeah, so anybody listening to have a Tesla that wants to come mess your car up, we'll definitely come drive it and give a review of it.
Yeah. So let's wrap this.
Yeah.
Brennan, departing words.
A excited about our interactions on Facebook. Hope y'all keep that up.
Yeah, it's all you and Cody. I appreciate that.
And same old, man. Just keep listening, keep telling everybody about us. Help get the word out.
Yeah, I'll echo that. Just putting a small comment, even if you're the person that you only have time to give your opinion and you don't want to argue about it, you don't want to talk about it further. Trust me, we'll take your comment, and if I say something, somebody will come to the other side of it, or if you're with me, somebody from the other side, like, it'll still start the conversation. That's what's the important part about it is, even if you don't personally want to get involved with the whole back and forth debate, but you just want to chime in with your opinion, I appreciate that too. Like, you don't have to get involved in the debate about it, but sometimes that'll spark a whole different side conversation, and that's how conversations start and ideas start and compromises happen. So please comment. And look, if you have any ideas for future segments or anything like that you want to hear about, as always, this is your podcast, it's not ours. So, we're open to any kind of ideas, or, often we have an empty chair, we'll make room for you. We have a couch in the room y'all can't see. If you want to come hang out with us and chime in every now and again, we're fine with that too.
Always willing to redesign and add space.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I echo what Cody said, man. I'm glad that we got more into the messaging, and I keep saying that I challenge everybody to do it, and I need to do it myself. I'm trying to do more content stuff and making that so we can have it and kind of keep the page. And even like Steven did, just sharing that thing in the group.
Yeah.
The more the algorithm sees the activities, the more it's going to get suggested to places and moved around. So again, I do a bad job at it, and I'm trying to do better. But again, I appreciate everybody's comments and listens, and I'm gonna try to get more involved in the comments, because it just beats me down.
And bring your damn carts back to the cart corral.
Yeah.
And the parking lots.
Don't be a lazy bones.
Yeah, be a good person.
Unless there's stops and curves and you can park.
You don't get to make your own.
Not how this works.
All right, everybody, remember the divide is not so wide.
Peace.